Nell Noddings and the Care Theory by Shelby K. Stevens. Nell Noddings is an education philosopher who specializes in the ethics of care. Noddings received her bachelor's and master's degree in mathematics and her doctorate in educational philosophy. Noddings is currently teaching at Stanford University as the Jacks Professor Emeriti of Child Education. Between the years of 1949 and 1972, Noddings taught elementary and high school students in New Jersey and later became an administrator. After receiving her Ph.D. in 1975, she became an employee for Stanford University in 1977. While at Stanford, Noddings was a well-known teacher and even took on roles such as the Dean of the School of Education. She retired in 1998, where she left Stanford and began a new journey at Columbia University, where she taught philosophy and education until 2000. Noddings' beliefs and values was influenced by her own personal teaching experiences. Noddings' involvement with caring teachers played a major role in her interest in a student-teacher relationship. Interview with Nell Noddings. John Brendan, the host and co-creator of the Public Voice Salon Show, interviewed Nell Noddings in 2017 on Education for Caring. Nell Noddings is one of the world's leading education philosophers. Nell Noddings' work focuses on caring and how to create more caring human beings in our communities. Noddings emphasizes on morals in terms of education. According to Noddings, moral education is more important than the academic and intellectual concerns. What kind of people are we creating? In the interview, Nell Noddings begins to discussing the difference between caring for and caring about. Noddings refers to caring about as an action that many people possess. Everyone cares about the weather or cares about keeping our community safe and clean, but then there are those people who do something about it. Caring for requires the establishment of relation, where two people are involved, the carer and the cared for. If the cared for does not recognize the attempted carer, then there is no caring relation. The caring theory is really a relational theory. Care theory in education. Nell Noddings' care theory is actually a relation theory. In this theory, there is the carer and the other is the cared for. With time, the roles may exchange, but for the theory to work, there must be two people involved. The carer is attentive and realizes that the cared for is trying to show that they care, and that the carer needs to be receptive. The goal of the carer is to understand what the cared for is experiencing here and understand the needs expressed. When referring to education, the teacher is known as the carer. The teacher is interested in the needs of the cared for based on what the cared for portrays, rather than information that is provided by the school system. Once the needs are identified, the next phase is where the motive energy will begin to flow toward the needs and objectives of the cared for. For example, a student who is struggling with a problem asks for help from the teacher. The teacher provides the help to the student, but the student needs something else in order for them to be successful with the problem. The teacher might feel that the need that the student wants is not appropriate, but may persuade the student to rethink what they need in order to understand the problem. There are many times when, as carers, we cannot satisfy the expressed need of the cared for. Sometimes teachers may lack the necessary resources in order to help the cared for, or teachers may disagree with what the cared for need. The carer needs to make sure that they are listening and reflecting the carer's response in order to keep the caring relation. An educator would be interested in why we should teach caring rather than traditional disciplines. Today, we are living in a society where violence is around every corner, and that there are people in our communities that are bearing children that they have little to no knowledge on how to care for them. Many people seem to focus on low scores and student academic achievement rather than teaching our students how to care. Noddings believes that we should want more from our educational efforts than adequate academic achievement, and that our children will never be successful unless our children believe they themselves are cared for and learn to care for others. Common Core Standards. According to Noddings, the standards of Common Core are more like lists of contents and skills to be taught by teachers and learned by students. Noddings first looks at what many teachers and parents call new math. Some of the standards that we teach have been implemented in the curriculum long before Common Core standards were developed. Noddings provides an example from the 1960s that all students should be able to solve. Determine the 126th term of the arithmetic sequence whose third term is 5 and seventh term is 29. As a fourth grade teacher, this is a standard that we teach when teaching patterns. This type of problem requires more than just knowledge, but application and analyzing skills. This type of problem has been in our curriculum for a long time, just the way we teach it now may be different. We ask ourselves why the need for the new standards if the curriculum has not changed since 1960. When the standards were adopted in 1994, a goal was created that by 2000, the United States will be the first in the world in mathematics and science. When 2000 came and that goal was not met, reformers insisted that the standards should be more rigorous. This is where the most frequent question has been asked since the new Common Core standards were developed, and that is, why should we expect students to be more successful when we make the work more difficult? The more common response for this question would be that we are trying to prepare students for college and future careers. Noddings clearly understands that Common Core standards are now asking students to justify answers, provide multiple solutions, and explain how they reach the results. She also explains that the standards now have teachers explicitly explain the foundations of the mathematical process to engage students to dive deeper into their own thinking. However, Noddings believes that it may be wiser to include these deep understandings, as extra added attractions for the highly motivated. Another significant point that Noddings inquires is the lack of mathematical competence that some teachers hear in teaching the foundation aspects of mathematics. The National Science Foundation sponsored a program where teachers could partake in a full-year fellowship where the tuition was paid for and those who participated got a stipend. Now teachers are required to participate in after-school programs, professional development on off days, and teachers' planning is taken in order to teach more rigorous math. If more opportunities were given where teachers did not feel that their own personal time was being taken away from them and where they got paid, more teachers would be open to learning the new math. In conclusion to Noddings' essay, the Common Core standards have its share of advantages and disadvantages. One major disadvantage is that the Common Core ignores the different learning abilities of each student. As witnessed firsthand, students struggle to keep up with the fast pace of rigorous standards. Teachers are being pressured to provide students with harder work, which only leaves them room to get farther behind. Students begin to struggle and slowly begin to dislike the content. Even though students may struggle, the Common Core standards do emphasize on teaching students critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The new reform movement may be difficult change for teachers to adjust to. However, if we refer to Noddings' care theory, if teachers showed they cared for how much they care about their success in education, the cared for, or the students, will be more engaged and more interested in their academic success.